We represent the Clean World Group. We possess technology and know-how that allow us to penetrate any computer network and listen in on any telephone conversation.
The data we have acquired until now was only used by governments and the secret services. We believe that everyone has the right to know anything. May all hidden truths be known. There will henceforth be no secrets, no cover-ups. Our goal is to make the whole world transparent.
The volume of information we have at our disposal is huge, and much time will be needed to analyze it. So far, we have placed in open access just a small portion of the information we possess about the activities of state agencies. However, we will disclose later the information that you want to hear.
This sensational video recording by the secretive organization that calls itself Clean World was transmitted just minutes ago to all the world's leading news agencies. None of the world's secret services have been able to identify or locate any of the members. Meanwhile, a wave of sensational revelations is rocking the world. The release via the internet of documents and recorded conversations involving highly placed officials have provoked spontaneous protests across the planet. Human rights advocates are triumphant. Scandals are developing around the disclosure of messages sent by government figures apparently involved in corruption, spying, and human violation rights. Public figures are resigning en masse. The entire governments of several countries have abandoned their posts simultaneously, and many heads of state are in disarray. A crisis of power has hit all democratic nations.
In downtown New York City, the Occupy movement has once again put up encampments of tents, which the protesters are calling their territory of truth and freedom of information.
The authorities are manipulating us, but we will save the world from their scheming, and the Clean World organization will help us. We salute them and will support them however we can. Let's make the world clean. Freedom of information. Say yes to truth. No to covert diplomacy.
No to arbitrary rule.
Protests and demonstrations with similar demands are taking place in all the countries of the world as many people wait for the promises to publish secrets to be fulfilled. Resignations are continuing in governments, parliaments, and international organizations following the publication of compromising information. State agencies are in paralysis. Public institutions have come to a standstill, and the world's governments are on the brink of collapse. There is simply no one left to be in charge, and this is taking place all around the world.
In many cities across the world, radical groups are speaking out against abuses of power. Protesters are supporting Clean World and demanding new revelations.
The latest events are another reminder of Snowden, Manning, and Assange, whose website WikiLeaks is 10 years old today, an anniversary celebrated by all protectors of truth and justice. They were the pioneers, the first internet whistleblowers. They were heroes who risked their freedom and their lives to give people unfettered access to pure truth.
We owe them a great debt of gratitude. They are our veterans, the great truth lovers who declared, "What we are doing is rendering a new form of social justice." However, we are now hearing more and more skeptical voices. If Snowden, Manning, and Assange with his website WikiLeaks were regular spies, then their activities could be assessed as successful intelligence operations, and no more than that. But they claim to be saving humanity from lies. These geeks, these internet whiz kids, are very strange boys. They are unable to understand the reality of the world. They're infantile and they think this is all a fun game. But the world is so dependent on technology and electronics that their games could come at a huge price for us all.
It is no surprise that their activities have been celebrated in left-wing, ultra-liberal circles amongst anarchists and libertarians and anyone else who has a tradition of opposing whoever is in power at the time. They are the ones who provoke and encourage the Assanges and the Snowdens of the world. The whistleblowers feel like they own the world as if they were international movie stars, and now they're playing to the crowd, seeking applause, enjoying being the center of attention. They are becoming cult icons for the masses.
These people are, at the end of the day, insignificant. Just take a look at that Australian layabout Assange, who thinks he is some kind of planetary mastermind. A pernicious hacker who got all his information from that screw-up Manning. A freak and a nutcase. After the verdict was pronounced, he demanded a sex change. And what about Snowden, who pretty much spied against his own people? Is it not strange to be celebrating these so-called heroes? Many people suffer from this distasteful character trait. They like to eavesdrop, to spy on people, to hear things simply not meant for their ears, and then, this is the big temptation, to make use of their newfound knowledge. If such people have access to life support systems, to nuclear warheads, to chemical weapon stores or data vaults, then they may succumb to the irresistible desire to make use of the opportunities before them, to expand their personal limits, and thus the lowly clerk can bring the whole world to its knees. This is the dictatorship of irrational lone wolves, and it is incredibly dangerous. But we have to remember that although the forbidden fruit may be sweet, it is also poison, and it brings pain that is long and bitter.
Across Asia and Latin America, people are welcoming the publication of secret information.
This is the face of Western imperialists and their lackeys.
An utterance pronounced by Pakistan's Prime Minister after a meeting with the U.S. ambassador was also published. The Americans are naive donkeys. We will do what we want in our country, and we will do it however we wish. Let them give us money, and we will decide how to spend it.
North Korea's president has made an official statement. Once again, we have received confirmation that the capitalist world is full of lies and treachery. It is in a state of decay. For this reason, we are introducing a nationwide ban not only on the use of computers, television sets, and telephones, but also electric meat grinders, irons, and microwave ovens. Electricity will be available in residential areas for no more than 2 hours per day, according to schedules for each district. We have already made several dozen preventive arrests. In their private lives and personal activities, the citizens of our country will continue to be guided solely by the Chuche ideology and the written instructions of the party and the government. It is excellent that this material has started to appear. We need to know the Western Crusaders to recognize them. And now, thanks be to Allah, people will learn the true plans of the USA and Europe. The Clean World organization is made up of our ideological brothers, our allies, who will expose anyone who attempts to slow down the spread of Islam. Allah is great.
So far, the flow of disclosed information has only concerned Western countries. Now, however, Clean World has declared its intention to publish documents concerning the developing countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, as well as dictatorships around the world. Here are some examples. Evidence that the governments of the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia are secretly funding fighters and various extremist organizations and developing plans to take over all of Europe in the next 5 years.
The world will learn of plans for a military intervention by Iran into the countries of the Persian Gulf, as well as plans by Ecuador, Cuba, and Venezuela to annihilate their opposition, including the physical elimination of opposition leaders before launching a guerrilla war against the United States. Also to be published are Chinese plans to populate over the next 20 years Russian territory from the eastern border and as far as Siberia. The world press and the internet have published information about covert activities by the governments of Latin America and the Arab world, prompting immediate reactions. Of course, we welcome the publication of revelations about the countries of the stagnant West, but we now issue the warning that if Clean World plans to continue to spread information about our countries, we will not tolerate that. Veterans Assange and Snowden have made a statement to the Clean World group and stated, "We are outraged by the attempts of the pretenders at Clean World to destabilize the international situation. We demand that the information published concerns only the USA and NATO countries, and not the progressive developing nations of the world. They have to understand that they must not attack the countries fighting against imperialism for the freedom of the peoples." What is Clean World to us? We are grateful to this group for giving us information about the colossal military might that was created to enslave the poor people of the world. We demand total disarmament, to equalize the chances of all countries in the name of a victory for jihad. When there are no more bombs and missiles, then we will use our daggers to cut the throats of all the infidels and create an international caliphate. But nobody has the right to publish information about us. If Clean World does not stop, we will find them and decapitate them. We are not some Western liberals to be treated like this. Meanwhile, protests against the arms race have taken the world by storm. Military spending is eating up all our resources. We want to know all the plans for military development. Down with war, long live peace. It is time to disarm. The world must become a place of peace and truth. Down with violence. No to terrorism. The money we save should be used as aid for the workers and the poverty-stricken in all the countries of the world. In response to public demands, the Clean World Group has promised to release secret military plans and new weapon systems, as well as the plans for defensive installations and the locations of nuclear facilities, and even data on terrorist organizations' camps, members, and arsenals. Moreover, lists of all the spies in the world will be published, indicating their real and code names, as well as their addresses and assignments. Russia, China, and several other countries have demanded from Clean World that information about their military technologies and war plans are released at least 1 month after publication of the plans and secret weapons technology of the USA and NATO. An emergency NATO conference took place in an atmosphere of strict secrecy with extreme security measures. All the participants of the conference are concerned by the lethal threat that now hangs over the Western world. The latest developments in tactical laser weapons, achieved after billions of dollars have been invested in research, may now cease to be a secret to the public, including in totalitarian regimes. Our correspondent has learned that a decision was made at the NATO conference to change all codenames and passwords to bring the armed forces to the highest level of combat readiness, and to use pigeon mail for the top secret communications between the countries of the North Atlantic Alliance.
The experts, however, believe that the situation is not as bad as it could be. While the enemy is still building new weapons, we will be able to launch a preemptive strike.
Political scientists and military analysts are predicting the most serious consequences for the world's population. What are you talking about? What kind of disarmament do you mean? As soon as the West disarms, dictatorial regimes that do not respect treaties and billions of volunteers from Asia and Africa will beat us to death with sticks and stones.
Meanwhile, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and other countries, a roar of delighted voices can be heard.
Now we will know the secret plans of European and American generals, and we will be able to make the most modern weapon systems ourselves, the same weapons the cursed West possesses now.
New information is expected in Europe and America as the Clean World Group is promising to reveal the terrorists' secret plans. The only question that remains is, who will act first?
We are ready. As soon as we are told the location of the terrorists, our pilots will scramble these helicopters. At last, we will get rid of that scum.
In major cities, security agencies are facing long lines of secret agents who hope for leniency if they turn themselves in before their names have been published. US spies in China, where espionage carries the death penalty, are fleeing for their lives.
The initial excitement about the revelations is gradually passing. Society is demoralized. In many towns, basic services have been interrupted. People are confused.
However, supporters of Clean World are congratulating each other and, despite all recent events, continue to believe in a new world order in which freedom of information and justice will reign.
The demands of protesters are becoming ever more radical. Now they are speaking out against corporations that refuse to release their secrets for the good of people around the world.
We support social equality and equal rights for all. We demand equal medical service. Down with the domination of corporations and banks.
Food, clothes, and medicine should be cheap for the good of the people of the world. The Clean World Group did not hesitate to respond to these statements by promising to satisfy the desires of the protesters. All confidential plans of corporations and international companies will be released, including their business strategies, industrial secrets, and cutting-edge technologies. There will no longer be any commercial secrecy. Business figures are terrified. Information disclosures are undermining the very foundation of the economy as the fruits of research fall into the hands of competitors. Experts are in uproar.
Manufacturing is already grinding to a halt. Stock exchanges are being closed. Exchange rates are collapsing, and shares are losing all value. Companies are going bankrupt, including pharmaceutical companies holding the exclusive rights to manufacture medicine. The same fate awaits all other private companies. Social tension has reached an extreme high.
People are laying siege to banks, trying to withdraw their deposits, but the banks simply do not have that much cash. This will be a financial collapse that will make all past cries look like child's play.
Everything with an electronic component is now a source of mistrust, bordering on panic. People are hoarding papers and pens. The offices of major companies are buying up all the typewriters they can find.
Cities are being emptied. Terrified residents are fleeing to the countryside where they hope to live out the chaos. Some are choosing to run to exotic destinations where there are no electric devices or even electrical goods.
Meanwhile, groups of citizens are breaking into the compounds of TV channels, news agencies, and the premises of local mass media, showering them with homemade bombs and beating up employees.
This is all because of the newspapers and TV chasing after sensational scoops. These hacks would sell their own mother if they could produce a scandal and boost their sales figures. You have to admit that if there was no demand, there would be no supply. And all of this under the slogan of freedom of information. All these truth lovers, the data thieves, think they will get the prize of fame and recognition, and it is the media who encourage them.
New revelations have suddenly appeared in the media, provided by unknown hackers. The reliability of the information could not be verified. These dubious documents suggest that certain oil-producing countries sent a secret message to Russia as one of the largest oil producers. The message allegedly voices the hope that Russian special forces will be able to destroy plants now being built in the USA that were designed to manufacture artificial oil. Other documents indicate that Al-Qaeda fighters have planted explosives in the Eiffel Tower in Paris, Buckingham Palace in London, the White House in Washington, D.C., and the Moscow Kremlin. Information about plans for new wars is particularly provocative, between Russia on the one hand and the American-Chinese alliance on the other, as well as the USA against both China and Russia, and between Iran and the rest of the world.
All this heightens the sense of an impending catastrophe. The flow of new information continues unabated. There have also been reports that France's right-wing party plans to create a military wing to tackle the problem of migrants. Another provocative news item mentions the creation of a greater Eurasian empire headed by Russia and China. However, international experts are confident that the dubious documents were produced as a revenge by truth lovers like Assange and Snowden against their competitors at Clean World, whose popularity is a thorn in their side. This does not look like the activities of Clean World. The actions of anonymous figures only create even greater confusion. Now it is a complete mystery what is true and what is a lie, which documents are genuine, which are forged. It has now become known that the planting of fake information was orchestrated by multiple groups of hackers claiming to be members of Clean World, but in fact motivated by jealousy of that group's fame.
The public is at a loss, and lay citizens do not know whom to trust or what to believe.
Why should I believe in Clean World but not Assange? Perhaps what that organization has been publishing is the real lie. Who can tell me the truth? Who is not lying? Assange and his friends no longer have any room to maneuver, and so they are frustrated and have started spreading false information. They are just jealous of other people's fame, but I do not care which of them is lying and which is telling the truth. The main thing is for there to be order, and that is just what we are missing. But anyway, it was the bankers, the Zionists, and the corrupt politicians who started the whole game of telling secrets.
No, I do not agree. This is a plot between America and Russia against the rest of the world.
At a conference in France, the heads of the G20 intelligence services made this joint announcement. Because the current situation poses a threat to all of humanity, we have decided to pool our resources to find and neutralize all the hackers together. This will take place over the next 2 days. In the future, their activities will be interdicted and punished in the most severe fashion. Unfortunately, we have so far been unable to locate the members of Clean World, and we therefore ask all members of that organization to cease their activities. We call on citizens to refrain from panicking. As yet, nothing has actually happened.
Public debates are becoming ever more heated.
This will end with everyone listening in on everyone else, neighbors, relatives, subordinates. We will know everything about each other. But that is a violation of human rights. Personal privacy is sacred. But you are happy to see state secrets revealed. So why should your personal life be immune? When state secrets are revealed, everyone celebrates and hero worships the traitors. Well, if you are all so honest, then let us reveal private secrets too. Is that not just and fair?
To hell with politics. Let's rediscover the naked truth. Let's all be happy and just enjoy the pleasure our bodies give us.
So let them listen in on us. What will they learn about me? Who cares what I say? Who gives a damn if I cheat on my wife? Who cares about the color of my underclothes? They can't listen to us all. To listen to 1,000 people, you need at least 500 people to do the listening. So one half of the country is listening to the other half. That is just stupid. This is information lawlessness worse than any H-bomb. They already know about all you anyway. Where you work, what you talk about with your colleagues, what you write to your friends, what purchases you make, what women you prefer, how many children you have, and the pedigree of your cat. You told them yourself on the social networks, and now you are scared someone may be listening to your calls? We demand mobile phones for each of us, so that someone can listen to us too. Let them pay attention to us, because no one even knows we exist. No one knows about our problems. People are continuing to flee towns and cities. In many towns, there is no longer electricity or water. Shops and hospitals have been shut down, and the police are disbanded. Fires are being started, and there's no one to put them out. Mobile phone services are disconnected almost everywhere. Chaos and looting have taken over the streets of our cities. All critical infrastructure has failed. Around the world, armed forces are being placed on combat readiness, with troops advancing towards national borders. Millions of Chinese land troops are advancing toward Kazakhstan. The situation is calm only in North Korea.
In all the nations of the world, priests of all the world's religions are holding services as people raise their voices to God Almighty with one single plea. Save us from this information disaster and return peace and calm to the planet. They are pleading with the members of Clean World to listen to the voice of reason and not publish any revelations for the good of humanity itself.
We publish just a tiny amount of information, but we will do this no more, as we can see what terrible consequences this can produce. May this be considered an experiment, one that gave us a better understanding of ourselves.
In just a little time, calm will reign again. Political and industrial espionage, intelligence and counterintelligence, corporate secrecy, these are things that have always existed, that exist now, and that will continue to exist. There must be public knowledge of certain things, but complete information transparency is impossible. That would bring catastrophe to the world.
No more publications, just a few words from a leader whom we respect greatly, whose opinion we listen to most attentively, and we invite you to listen to him too. People are curious, and this is no sin. Curiosity drives progress, but people always want to know more than is available to them, more than they need for their happiness. But this is all pointless. Even the great wise men do not know all the answers. The biggest secret of the universe is still a secret to one and all.